150 billion euros every single year. That's what Italy's mafia earns today. That's bigger than Italy's entire farming sector. If the mafia were a company, it would be Italy's #1 business. But it doesn't show up in any GDP report. No line item, no official record anywhere. Because the mafia doesn't look like the mafia anymore. No guys shaking down restaurants. No shootouts in the street. It looks like a construction company, a waste management firm, a wind energy project. And the scariest part? It's not hiding. It's just hiding in plain sight. It has quietly taken over one of the largest economies in Europe. And even after a century of crackdowns, nobody's been able to stop it. Today, most people think the mafia is a dying institution, weakened, contained, relevant only in history books and prestige TV. The truth is, it never went anywhere. It just stopped looking like the mafia. Today, it's not just a criminal network. It's a parallel economic system, embedded so deeply into legitimate business, construction, and finance that it quietly controls a significant part of Italy's GDP. And that's exactly how it wants it. So where does the money actually come from? The thing people actually know about, protection money, pizzo, is just the beginning. In Palermo, between 70 and 80% of businesses pay it. In some towns in Calabria, that number crosses 80. Think about what that means. Walk down almost any street, almost every shop, every restaurant, every business, quietly paying. Every month. How much? Anywhere from 2 to 10% of monthly revenue, which is often higher than government taxes. Except government taxes build roads. All pizzo buys exactly one thing, the right to not have your business burned down. But what most people miss is that the mafia doesn't just take money from businesses. They control which businesses can exist at all. Take the wholesale food markets in Naples and Palermo. You want to sell produce? Fine. But you're buying from mafia-approved suppliers at mafia set prices running 15 to 30% above what a free market would charge. Try to find a cheaper supplier? Your trucks get sabotaged. Your contracts disappear. This isn't occasional interference. This is just how the market works there. And who ultimately pays for it? The people doing their grocery shopping in the poorest neighborhoods. It's a hidden tax on food, on survival. But the protection racket? That's just the entry level. The real money is somewhere else entirely. And it involves the government. Public construction contracts. A 2023 parliamentary commission found that up to 25% of public contracts in parts of southern Italy involve organized crime. The mafia sets up a completely legitimate-looking company, files all the right paperwork, hires a clean record CEO, then underbids every competitor on a government contract. They can afford to, because drug money is subsidizing the losses. They win the contract. Subcontract the work to other mafia-connected firms, inflate costs through delays and fake change orders, cut corners on materials, falsify safety reports. A project that should take 3 years takes 10. A road budgeted at 50 million euros ends up costing 80, and the road still falls apart. There's a highway, Salerno to Reggio Calabria, that has been under construction for decades. A cost overruns exceeding 200%. Sections finished years ago already need rebuilding. But what should make you genuinely furious is that between 2014 and 2024, the EU sent 75 billion euros to southern Italy. Development money, investment in the future, a lot of it went straight into this system, showed up in official budgets as legitimate investment, then vanished into a network of mafia-connected contractors. That's why, after decades of EU funding, southern Italy still hasn't caught up with the north. The money came. It just didn't stay. Now, you need to understand one thing. Italy doesn't have one mafia. It has 3. Cosa Nostra, Sicily, the original, weakened after the mass arrests of the 90s, but never gone, still embedded in local government, real estate, and public tenders. The Camorra, Naples, and the Campania region are more fragmented, more violent, but incredibly powerful in waste management. And yes, that's as dark as it sounds. They turned illegal dumping into a billion-euro industry. Entire regions of southern Italy were quietly poisoned. Investigators call it the Triangle of Death. And then, the most powerful of all, the Ndrangheta, Calabria. They kept quiet while everyone watched Cosa Nostra collapse in the 90s. And in that silence, they built an empire. Today, the Ndrangheta controls an estimated 3% of Italy's entire GDP, roughly 50 billion euros a year, just from this one organization. They're the largest cocaine trafficking network in Europe. And unlike the old mafias, they don't just spend the money, they invest it into restaurants, hotels, supermarkets, construction firms, real estate funds. They became businessmen. And that is entirely the point, and something that almost never gets talked about. It isn't just a southern Italian problem anymore. Banks in southern Italy don't like to lend. Too risky. Property rights are uncertain. Courts take forever. So businesses that need capital go to the only people willing to provide it, the mafia. Interest rates? 10 to 40%. Compare that to 4 to 8% at a normal bank. You borrow because you have no choice. You fall behind on payments, which is often the whole plan. And then they take a piece of your business, or all of it. That business becomes a front, used to launder money. Another slice of the legitimate economy quietly absorbed. Right now, an estimated 180,000 businesses are trapped in this cycle, owing money to mafia lenders, no way out except bankruptcy, or becoming part of the machine. Like about 65 billion euros gets laundered through the Italian economy every year, mostly through real estate and business acquisitions. And the insane part is that the mafia deliberately pay over market price, because the whole point is cleaning the money. The premium is the cost of laundering. What does that do to the legitimate market? A real business trying to buy a property can't compete. The mafia bidder is willing to pay 20–30% more every time. No negotiation. Legitimate businesses get squeezed out, sold off, and another corner of the economy quietly changes hands. In 2023 alone, Italian police seized over 4 billion euros in mafia assets, real estate, businesses, vehicles, and investigators say that's a fraction of what actually moves. Let's zoom out, because the numbers tell a story no single example can. Regions under heavy mafia influence show productivity 20 to 30% lower than comparable regions elsewhere. Calabria's output per worker sits 40% below Lombardy's. Foreign investment in southern Italy is 1/5 of what the north attracts per person. 40% of investors cite security concerns as the reason they stay away. Youth unemployment in Calabria is 47%, double the national average. The mafia doesn't create real jobs. It creates extraction. It takes money out of the system instead of building anything. And here's the trap. Low productivity means low tax revenue. Low tax revenue means the state can't show up effectively. When the state can't show up, the mafia fills the gap, which keeps productivity low, which keeps the state out. Round and round for a century. So, 150 billion euros. Now you know where it comes from. This isn't Italy's problem anymore. 30% of Ndrangheta revenue now comes from northern Italy. They're in Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, Australia, quietly, without violence, without headlines. The mafia went international, and most of Europe hasn't even noticed. Remember that construction CEO at the start? Respected, clean record, 800 million euro firm. No tattoos, no guns. That's what the mafia looks like today. Not a dying institution, a thriving one. That learned the most important lesson of all. The less it looks like the mafia, the more powerful it becomes. Before you go, if you found this useful, the algorithm rewards you for hitting like. It takes 1 second, and it directly helps this channel cover more stories like this one.